The buffet at Basilico, located in the Conrad Singapore Orchard, offers an extensive selection of authentic Italian dishes featuring fresh ingredients and traditional flavors. The buffet is known for its extensive selection of antipasti, pastas, pizzas, seafood, and desserts. You can also find the signature cheese room with a huge selection of over 50 artisanal cheeses from Italy. Take a tour of this beautiful Italian buffet with Chef Luca.
I'm Luca Beccalli. I'm the executive chef of Conrad Singapore Orchard. And here we are in Basilico, in the cheese room. That is our signature highlights of the restaurant. All the cheeses coming from Italy is the basic rule. And all the fresh mozzarella coming from a different region, so you're gonna have a different flavor. Something is more acidic if they're coming from the south because they use more buffalo milk. Something they're coming from the north, so it's a little bit more mild as a flavor because we use cow milk. The burrata, we use a burrata from Putignano that have a nice creamy texture, but the shell is quite thin as well, and personally is one of my favorite. We infuse them today with a truffle. That is, we take this during fall. We take the truffle, we sous vide them with a bit of olive oil, we blend it, and we keep it throughout the year as a preserve. And in this case, we just wrap them for the day before, so the flavor of the truffle go throughout the burrata, and you can taste it later on. It's amazing. All the tomato that you see is tomato as well from Italy. They're coming from a different region, different variety as well, where the guest can try to or something more brave. They can pick and bite almost like an apple, like in little farm in Italy. And after we have all the aged cheeses, we have around 40-50 aged Italian cheeses on the daily basis. And they're coming from various regions. At the moment, we're covering most of the north between Val d'Aosta and Friuli, and they're coming from a micro farmer. So even a simple taleggio cheese that is very common is from a little cheesemaker that they make it under the day aged, so it's much more intense and more particular as a flavor. It's a journey that we start 8 years ago, and we never stopped since then. We find with the help of supplier in Singapore that help us to connect with cheesemaker in Italy. So it's a job that is always going on the weekly basis. We try to looking for something. This one is a provolone that usually you find this shape that is quite small, but this one is the version they call it Mandarone, that is coming from a mandarin, because when you see it from the bottom, it looks like a big tangerine. But of course, we have some cheese that is home infused. Let me show you these two. So this one we start this project of cheese infusion because we say it's okay. We buy cheeses. What else we do? And we decide to experiment and try something new. And we take some gorgonzola and we say it's okay. What is matching the gorgonzola? And we find out that in Sicily they pairing with chocolate. I say, why we don't simple coat them and see what come make? And we were surprised about the result. There is an exchange of flavor. How you see there is this sweating of the top of the chocolate that will be absorbed from the blue cheese, and the blue cheese will give a flavor as well to the chocolate in the same time. And after we didn't stop, we say, okay, let's make it more vibrant, more strange, more unique. So the white chocolate and blue cheese, we layer it with black truffle. And the dark chocolate, we layer it with chili flakes. to have a nice spiciness, and they're working quite well. And since 7 years, this one is the two must that is gonna be in the cheese room. Sometimes we literally soak the whole form of cheese in red wine. Personally, I love Amarone wine, and usually we use a Piave del Mazzano or some Montasio. Usually I try to keep them in the same or nearby region because for me it makes sense. And of course we have as well some honey that is locally sourced, or some forest honey from Indonesia, and after we just add strawberry, black truffle, lemon, chili, so the guests have a much more playground to play with in this room. Usually we keep a chef over here to help them throughout the experience of the cheese room. In the beginning, we was a bit uncertain because of the culture of the cheese in Asia was not very strong. But since the first year, we start to recognize that the people get crazy for the cheese over here. I don't know what happened in Singapore. We start to implement and we start to push it forward. And before it was just few Italian cheeses, try to put more on variety, but now we pinpoint more on looking for the product on the quality itself. So here is the center island. It's where we display, we call it the Antipasti, the starter, and what we would like to start the meal with it in Italy. There is a selection of cold cuts that all of them, they're coming from Italy. A selection of variety of Italian olives, pickles, capers and dried tomato, so you can have a nice playground to it. And after we have a seafood bar, lobster, prawns, scallop, mussels, clams, locally sourced. So a bit of beverage and healthy fruit. We have a salad bar. We change it seasonally. It's growing. All the salad are growing in Singapore, and all the vegetables they're coming from an ugly farm. So it's something sustainable that we want to do. Is the imperfect vegetable, but they are super tasty. So we clean them, we pair them, we work a little bit with it, and we display on the buffet just to maintain the flavor of it. A bit of sea salt that are a bit infused with different flavor: chili, truffle, lemon, and basil and pine nuts. Some Caesar dressing, truffle mayo that the people like this kind of playground. And of course we have a huge variety of olive oil and balsamic vinegar. A bit of compound salad just for have a bit of healthy with a bit of carpaccio, vegetable, kale, and of course our bread station that everything is homemade by our chief baker with focaccia, ciabattas, and all the bread that traditionally coming from Italy. The lasagna is one of our signature. 15 years that is open, this restaurant, the recipe never changed. It's a Wagyu beef ragu with the traditional bechamel, homemade pasta layer in the center, 5 layer, and simple finished in the pizza oven. So you will have all these, let's call it this burnish crust on the outside that give it these nice crunchy bites. And after we have the risotto, some homemade orecchiette. That is, we practice every day to make this orecchiette. The pizza romana is 48-hour fermented dough, and we change the recipe of this pizza almost on the daily basis. And this one is our signature. I suggested to try. This is a focaccia with mascarpone and black truffle. We call it in the restaurant, but is a revisitation of the focaccia from Recco. Is in famous focaccia from Liguria. So it's 2 thin layer of focaccia dough. Inside there is mozzarella, mascarpone, provolone, robiola cheese, black truffle. We finish it in the oven until the dough getting crispy. We finish it with fresh truffle on the top, Parmesan cheese and chives. We have some selection of vegetable, some sea bass that is locally sourced from Singapore, with a bit of balsamic glaze, finished in the oven, and some vegetable on the side. some lemon chicken, some beef that is been grilled, and of course our porchetta, that is how we do it in Rome marination, but we use a pork belly just because of the carving facilitate all the process of it. 3 gelatos and 3 sorbet, homemade. We change on the regular basic, but the chocolate gelato and the vanilla ice cream, impossible to remove it. 4 shooters, including the tiramisu and the panna cotta, and of course, few selection of miniature dessert. One of the things that usually we highlight is this budino. Is the Italian version of bread and butter pudding. What we use, the bread, we use a croissant and cranberry, and we slow poach it in the oven. We slow cook it in the oven until set like mama style. Except for the 4 eggs in front and the flour, everything is made in bread, and was a decoration from our chief baker. I'm very proud of him.